What's up, guys? Super Golden Key here, coming at you with sort of a figure review. So these, um, sort of a story within. So I really enjoy building Legos, but I also really enjoy Transformers. And I was only recently introduced to the idea of making Transformers out of Legos. So I saw some videos and I saw some pretty cool stuff and seen what people can do with Legos, and I thought, why not try to make some of my own? So here we have, uh, well, these aren't really the first ones I've made. I've made tons and tons of them in the past, but I've only just now thought of making a video about them. So let's start off with my least favorite, this guy right here. So the only real problem I have with this guy is the semi-parts forming aspect of him. Also, just I tried to make this jet mode as sleek as I could. I don't think it turned out that bad. This part right here is just a little stand to, I don't know, if you don't want it to just be laying flat on the ground. So that's what this stand is for. But it also serves another purpose later on. But you can see this is one that I've actually tried to make a color scheme to, because the problem with a lot of my Lego Transformers is that they usually don't have a color scheme because they don't really have enough pieces in the right color, so they end up just being a huge garbled mess of random colors. But this one, I think, doesn't have that bad of a color scheme, because he's mostly just red, orange, and yellow, which I think kind of suits him. You can see I made the this part right here, the cockpit, made that in a blue cheese. Is that what they're called? Cheese slopes. And I just tried to make it as aerodynamic as I could. So the jet mode really isn't the part that I have a problem with. The robot mode is a little bit lackluster. So we'll get into transformation. So you just want to take them off of the stand right here and put that off to the side. Then this part technically wouldn't really be considered parts forming, but you're going to take the nose of the plane off. You'll see why this doesn't really count as parts forming later on in the robot mode. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these arms and pull them back or up, and then you're going to take the legs and pull them down. And the problem I have when doing this is, see this stud right here. Hold on. Let me try to get it to where you can see. Yeah, there we go. So this part always comes off of here. It's supposed to stay right here where this part is, but if you don't have that problem, then don't worry. If you do, if that does come off, then just put it right back on. And then you're gonna wanna bring the arms down like this, and then these are the legs. And then here's where the stand comes in. So the stand is kind of a problem I have with it. I tried to make it as least parts forming as possible. What you're going to do is you're going to take this part right here. Now, this part, you can do whatever you want with these two things right here, and a couple other pieces, if you see like a transparent piece or anything. That isn't supposed to be like that, that's just because I ran out of actual parts there. So these you can put like yellow 1x2 or orange 1x2 or red 1x2, or really any other color that matches with his color scheme. But you're gonna plug it right onto this orange piece right on his back. Plug that right there, and that'll stop this from flopping all over the place. So it secures that. Then you're gonna want to bring this down, turn this around, and that is his head. And then you're gonna take this, the nose cone, and plug that right here into the hand, and then it sort of becomes like a sword. So there you have him. I haven't really come up with a name for him. Trying to think of a good name for him, because I'm trying to think of a name that hasn't already been used in the Transformers series. I'm thinking of Skyfire. If that's already a name, tell me in the comments and I'll have to change it. But I think Skyfire is a good name for it. So here you have Skyfire's robot mode. You can see here, he has a serious problem going on with his legs, as they are all the way in the back of his body, and they really should be more towards the center, but due to transformation, that's kind of how it is. So he's got a weird looking body, but looking at him from the front, he doesn't look too bad. The arms, we'll start off and get into articulation. So technically this part right here, as you can consider moving it up and down, and you can take this part right here and move that, and I guess that would technically be considered side to side motion. The arms can move in and out. They're on this little hinge joint right here, and you can break his arms that far back and move his arms forward. Now, something I want to say real quick before we finish this off. Something that is kind of a noticeable thing is I am using other parts that aren't Lego pieces. There are other different brands of brick pieces, but you can, if you only have Legos, you can build every one of these without the other brands. I just use them because I have them. So you don't have to get the other brands to make these. So you can use them with all just nothing but Legos. And also I'm using some older Lego pieces, like you can see right here, the arm joint. This is an older Lego piece, and they might be kind of more difficult to find. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. So you can move his legs back that far and forward that far. And I don't really have a problem with. At first, I kind of had a problem with the wings just kind of sticking out of his legs, but now it looks kind of growing on me. But anyways, there is Skyfire. Then let's move on to my second favorite. Breaker. So, Breaker and Skyfire, I intended for them to actually be brothers, even though that they're two completely different alt modes. But Breaker here, I wanted to make him like a tank, and as you can see, this looks practically nothing like any normal tank you'd see, but I did the best I could with what I had, and for the sake of it being a tank, we'll call it a Cybertronian tank, because this is not a normal tank. Anyways, so this is kind of one of the instances where I don't really have a color scheme for him. I just had the pieces and I wanted to put them together. But I mean, not really a whole lot you can do with a tank. It's just a tank. You can't really move this a lot, so you can kind of move it up, sort of, but that's on the hinge down here. So, it's a tank. You don't really get a whole lot of movement with it. There's no wheel, so it can't roll. It just slides. Anyways, so let's get on to transformation. So what I'm going to do is you're going to bring this hinge up. You can see it's on this little thing right here, and with the 1 next on it. So anyway, what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece. Actually, the thing, you don't have to use these pieces as well. It's another thing where you don't have to use these exact pieces. It's just the piece that I had at the moment. So if you don't like the fact that this thing's just hanging out here, you can just use a 1x3 of a color that would suit it. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to take this and take it off. Now once again, this technically isn't parts forming because this becomes a weapon later on. So then you're going to keep this up here, and then you're going to untab the hands right here. They say they're on a little stud right there, so you're going to untab it. Untab! There you go. And you're going to have it like that. And then you're going to do the same on the other side. And then the legs will just flop down. They're both on hinges, so they just come down. Nothing really there to lock them in, so kind of have a problem with the floppy looseness. And then you're going to take the head and just bring it down. And then what you're going to do is you're going to want to take the turret, and on this little thing right here, you're going to want to take it and plug it into right here. So just like kind of like a underslung cannon sort of. And then the last step is you're going to take these parts and turn them inwards so that he can actually stand properly. And these parts kind of give him more of a balance as well, so that's nice. And here you have, what did I call him? Breaker. And here you have him in his robot mode. The thing is right here, it's kind of loose, so I can't really do much with that. But yeah, he is quite a bit taller than his brother. He's actually a lot taller than his brother. But let's talk about his overall look. Now, I wanted to have some sort of aspect of green in there. You can't really see it on camera, but this one is also green. It kind of looks black, but it's green. It's a dark green. Not really a fan of the red going on here, but again, the only pieces I had. So hopefully I'll be able to change that with some black or more green pieces. This yellow one I actually was also a thing that I only used because I didn't have the correct piece and color, but I actually kind of like it having like this, because I don't know, the yellow and the green kind of have that tank army look. The legs with the blue, they're just there because, again, didn't really have the pieces in the correct color. Anyways, so articulation, you can move out that far, and it has a 90-degree bend at the elbow. You can also break his arm if you want to. Technically, you can move his head up and down, sort of. And again, you can rotate his head. And then the legs, they just have simple articulation. They can move forward that far, and they can move back that far. And that's pretty much it for his articulation. Something funny is, considering the fact that he becomes a pretty compact tank, it's kind of strange that he becomes such a tall, lanky robot mode. So it's just kind of funny. Nice. Now let's continue on with the third one. Now this is Soundwave. This is the only of the three that is an actual Transformer, and it's Soundwave. So you can see here, he's in his little Walkman cassette mode. What? He's a cassette player, basically. I know a lot of people don't really know what that is, because they're not that common nowadays. But there's a little thing right here so that you can play the tapes and stuff. He has the buttons and stuff. You can't put anything in his chest because it doesn't open up. But you can see, I'm actually surprised at how flush everything sits. Becomes fairly compact, and I like how it turned out. I tried to get the color scheme as accurate as possible, trying to stick with the blue and dark blue and just grays and stuff. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty well. So let's get to the transformation. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring his legs down, like that, and straighten the knees out. Same on the other side. Bring down, straighten the knee out, and then you're just going to want to bring these arms out. And then, there's an interesting little thing. It's kind of like how the G1 toy did, where he had his guns on his back. And so you can just take one of them and just put it on his shoulder, just like he does. And the other one is for him to like hold. If you want him to hold, one, you can do that. Here's a sort of my one problem with the figure is you may notice, where's his head? Well, here it is. And with the pieces I had, this was really an unavoidable thing to get anything to look decent. So it kind of sucks. But his head, you can see he has a visor, the red visor, and the light shines through. It actually looks really cool. And yeah. So then for this gun, if you don't want him to hold it, you can plug it in right here where the head was, and that kind of sits nice and flush and doesn't really stick out too much. And there you have Soundwave in his robot mode. Now let's talk about his articulation. Now I tried to figure out a way for him to have like proper leg articulation, but with the way the transformation works, it didn't really work out well. That didn't really work out. So really the only articulation you can get out of his legs is kicking out. You can kick out really far, and you can definitely do the splits. You can't really do anything with his knees other than break his knees. The arms can swing, the shoulders can swing back and forth. You have to try really hard, but you can. But the thing, it's kind of a pain, but you can get his arm to go forward, and you can bend his elbow. So, and then you can swivel his head. So yeah, not super huge on the articulation, but he does enough, and I think it's pretty cool. Now, something that I actually think is really cool is he comes with these guys. Now, if you know who Soundwave is and you've ever watched the show, you know that he comes with these little cassette minions. Right now I only have 2 of them, and they vary in size. See, one is a lot thicker than the other. But when you look at them up front, they're basically the exact same thing. So, starting off with this one, the thinner one, this is Laserbeak. So you're going to, basically for transformation, just flip these parts out. There you have Laserbeak. You can rest him on top of his shoulder. You can actually peg him in on this side of his shoulder, but it's a pain to get him off on mine. So let's just have him rest there. And then this, the thicker one, is Ravage. So this one you're going to want to take these right here and move them inward. Then you're going to have them looking like that. Then you're just going to take the legs and just flop them all out. And he does have individually articulated legs, as far as that they can move forward and backwards. He doesn't have a head or a tail though. But I mean, for the size he is, I couldn't really figure out a way to incorporate that into the cassette mode. But I mean, I think on his own, he's pretty cool. So there you have that. I really wanted to have Ravage and Laserbeak. But then, another accessory I sort of just threw in there. You have this little connector cable, and this is really more for his cassette player mode. I mean. So let's get him into cassette mode real quick, and I'll show you how that works. And there you go. So how this works is you're going to take this cable, and you're going to take this part. These are also older Lego pieces, these little cable things. But you're going to take it on the port where you'd have Laserbeak sitting, and you're going to plug one side into that. And then basically this you can just plug, this you can just plug the other side into just pretty much anything else that is a Lego. So like if he's, so for example, you could plug it into another transformer, like you can just plug it in anywhere, and then he'd be like retrieving data or something. And it's just a little interesting little accessory. And overall, I think all these guys look pretty good. I don't really have any major problems with them, other than a few parts forming things. But some parts forming had to be incorporated in order to have a good-looking robot mode and alt mode. But, yeah. So, there you have my first 3, Lego Transformers. And, I think they turned out pretty well. So, I'm gonna leave this episode here, and, I'll see you guys next time. So long. Hey, if you liked the video, why not check out my others? Also, it would really help me out if you liked and subscribed. Or, why not comment while you're at it?